Well, hello, my friends. How are you doing? I hope you're thriving. Very exciting day today. This is the first ever re-released episode of 1F Jeff. It's a big step for a podcast, a big moment, when you finally have enough episodes in the can to justify re-releasing any of them, number one. Number two, when the host/editor/producer/promoter/etc. gets a little bit overwhelmed and tired of making these episodes every single week and decides to do some re-released episodes. That's also a big moment. Not as big as the first, but you get it. And what a re-released episode we have. I believe this is episode number 3 with Jason Wachtelhausen, who I honestly barely knew at the time. I think it was the first time we'd actually sat down and talked. I talk about how we met in the podcast, so I won't go through that again. But since I recorded this episode, me and Jason have become good friends. We hung out quite a bit when I was in Columbus, even came to my going away party like 5 months ago, or whatever that was. And I actually saw him briefly when I was in Columbus a couple weeks ago. So he's a great guy, and since this episode was recorded and aired, Jason got married. So congratulations to Jason and his wife. Another thing that happened since this episode aired is that I got a Patreon page for this podcast. So, patreon.com/1FJeff. Please sign up. Little as $5 a month, or $25 a month, or $950 a month, whatever you choose. Help support the podcast. It's a one-man show here, and every little bit helps, to be honest. Helps a lot. And it makes me feel good as well. So, please go to patreon.com/1FJeff and sign up, and thank you in advance. And to all my continuing Patreon subscribers, thank you so much. I love you very much, and I really appreciate your continued support of 1F Jeff. And for everyone, Patreon subscribers and non-Patreon subscribers, I hope you all really enjoy this, the first re-released episode of 1F Jeff. This is the third episode of 1F Jeff.
The number 3 is the first odd prime number. Many cultures consider it a symbol of harmony and balance. It also appears frequently in nature, such as in the structure of triangles.
About a month or two ago, I was hanging out at a local bar right down the street from me here in Columbus, Ohio. It's called Dick's Den.
Dick's Den is this iconic little dive bar in Columbus that's known for its live jazz and bluegrass. It's got a really cozy wood-paneled interior and a great selection of drinks.
There's a neon sign in the window of Dick's Den that says, "Why not?" I love that.
Today's guest is Jason Wachtelhausen. Ngeni Waleo ni Jason Wachtelhausen.
Unser heutiger Gast ist Jason Wachtelhausen.
I was standing out in the patio talking to a friend of mine when I turned around and saw this guy dressed like a rock star smoking a cigarette. So I said, "Where'd you come from?" And he's like, "From work, man, I'm a butcher." And I was like, "Oh, my uncle was a butcher." So we got to talking, and I quickly realized that I'd stumbled upon one of the more interesting humans here in Columbus, Ohio.
Jason Wachtelhausen is a writer and artist based in Columbus, Ohio. He's contributed to magazines like Wired and Ready Made. He's a whole animal butcher, and he's also a musician.
I feel like I could do 4 or 5 podcasts with Jason, and he'd still have more to tell. But I'm grateful that he was willing to sit down and share some of his story with me and with you. Again, I hope that you enjoy listening to this as much as I've enjoyed making it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Here's Jason. How was that concert last night? Was it good?
It was great.
Yeah?
It was definitely a good show.
Are they like old punk rockers?
They're up there with the very oldest. They are, icons, originators of the punk sound.
How old are they now?
Older than me, and I'm not young.
So, Jason, what's your last name? I don't even know your last name.
My full name is Jason Norvane Wachtelhausen. My father's from Germany.
Right.
And my mom's from Jamaica.
Oh, interesting.
My father grew up here, since he was a baby in the United States. And he loved black culture.
Okay.
He was very interested in it and impressed by it or something like that. And my mom was just like a Jamaican hippie chick, and somehow they got together, and now everyone thinks I'm Dominican when they look at me.
I didn't think you were Dominican. I had no idea.
Well, in New York, everyone does.
In New York, for sure. Yeah, I could see that. So you were born in New York?
No, I was born in Philadelphia.
Brothers or sisters?
Yes, I had 5 foster brothers and sisters.
Okay. Wow.
And my brother,
Your real brother.
and I. Yeah, my father ended up in the Navy, and during Vietnam,
Okay.
a bunch of weird shit there. I won't get into, but there's some bar that when they were in port or whatever you call it, and my mom was like a bar chick around there and played pool and
Okay.
drank beers,
Right,
and
right,
cussed and
right.
stuff. And I remember when her telling me the story, and she said, Jason, you know, that first night when I met him, it was the most magical night of my life. It was so wonderful. And then I felt like I wrecked everything because I fucked him. I knew I shouldn't have done that, and because guys, you know, they're never going to come back. And then the next time he came back around, he did come back, and they ended up being in love.
Right. How long were they married? Were they married forever?
Yes,
They're still married
well,
now?
until my father died.
That's your father. Okay.
They both wanted to have kids, and they tried for forever to have children, and it just wasn't working.
Okay.
And with doctors several times, and the doctors said, you know, there's nothing wrong with you, with either of you.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, not happening.
Sure.
Whatever. So just keep trying. But eventually they took in some foster kids and were raising them as their children. And they wanted to adopt those kids, but the father wouldn't allow them to be adopted because he didn't want his kids being raised by a white guy.
Oh, interesting. Different times.
Yeah. So then all of a sudden, out of the blue, my mom gets pregnant with me, and 1 year and 6 months to the day later, she gives birth to my brother. This June 16th and December 16th.
Okay.
So with the 5 foster kids and the 2 of us,
Mhm.
it had been a really long time since they'd been on a date. One night, Ray Charles was playing at this dinner theater. They
Okay.
both loved Ray Charles.
Sure. Who doesn't?
Right. So they said, fuck it, we're going to get a babysitter to watch the kids. We're going to go. It's this girl who's sat us before.
Mhm.
And she was incredibly mean. And as soon as they leave, she starts putting on makeup, and it's like, you kids better be good. I'll be back in about 5 hours or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
As she's walking out, her older brother, they live right in the house next door,
Yeah.
is like coming out and confronts her about it, and she's adamant, and she leaves, and he decides he's going to take over for her and stay. Anyway, that night, the twins were playing with matches, and they were burning little pieces of paper, and they were hiding the paper inside this cracker box that they'd eaten the whole thing of. And we were pretty fucking poor at the time. So
Right.
that was a big deal. And they hid all the evidence under my parents' bed, and the box started to burn.
Right.
And anyway, the house caught on fire. And the fire was like, like caught the next 2 row houses
Jesus
on fire
Christ.
as well. And I mean, we lost everything. I remember this so clearly. I remember the dream I was having. I was asleep on the couch downstairs, right by the front door. And this sort of looked like an alien or something like that. It was a fireman, picked me up off the couch, and took me outside, set me on the sidewalk, and ran back inside. And I was like, I don't know if you remember Time Bandits.
Yeah.
Okay, so that in the very end of the film, when the kid's parents blow up and all the fire trucks are going by,
Sure.
it feels so much like exactly like how I felt. I was in my footy pajamas and everything like that. And I had no idea what was going on. And I saw we had this white Toyota hatchback, and it like skidded around the corner, and like, you could hear it and everything, like show on TV, I felt like, and it like screeched to a halt. And before it was even totally stopped, my mom's door opened, and she like jumped out of the car, and boom, just like straight landed on the concrete, completely passed out.
Jesus.
My dad jumped out of the car and ran straight towards the door, and almost got like in a physical altercation with this fireman that was there trying to get into the house.
Right.
And as that was going on, the dude, babysitter, came out of the house, and literally his sweater, his hair, stuff was smoking. And he had my little brother,
Jesus
who
Christ.
was like, no years old.
Right.
at the time.
Right.
And I always think about if that girl had stayed.
Was this in Philly?
Yeah.
Wow. So what'd your parents do? Your dad was in the war.
Yeah. He continued to work for the government for the
Okay.
rest of his life.
All right. And your mom?
She ran a daycare out of the house.
Sounds like she loved
for
kids
years.
For any,
She was amazing with
Right.
kids. Really amazing with kids. Yeah, and she spanked one of them on the legs because she pulled a knife on someone on the school bus.
The kid
And
did.
The kid did.
Right.
Yeah, and the kid called the cops.
Mm-hmm.
And
Can't do
My
that.
mom's not allowed around kids anymore, basically.
So do you guys get along? You get along with your parents?
My dad was the best friend I ever had in my life.
No kidding.
I mean,
I love that.
ever, hands
Yeah.
down. Like, it was weird. Like, my mom and my little brother are just exactly the same. Like, the exact same type of people. They're both like explosive tempers and like full of love and just fat. And like, wonder if a big
Fat.
balloon can float you up. Like, they have a lot of weird,
Fat.
weird stuff.
Do you get along with them or not? Not so
Well, you
much.
get along famously. I mean, like
Okay.
it's that sort of like opposites attract thing.
Right,
You know,
right.
I could totally understand like why my dad loved my mom and why I understand why I love my brother so much. I mean, he's like the total flip side
Uh-huh.
of what I would be.
Where's your brother now? Is he around here or is he
He's in Vermont.
Vermont? All right.
Yeah.
All right. When you were a kid, what did you think you were going to do when you got older? Did you have any idea?
Go to MIT.
Oh, really? Oh.
That was since I was a little kid. That was what I wanted to do.
To do what? And did you have a goal after that, or was it just I want to go to MIT?
Particle physics. Is
No
what I
shit.
was really interested in. Like the idea of CERN, like that was like actually going to happen, and they were deciding where it was going to be built and everything like that. That was in like 84 or something like that, and like I was so like up to date on all that
no
news
shit.
and stuff. And then I went to Canada. I went to school there.
Okay.
School in Canada was like something like in that summer, it's like by the end of the summer, you just couldn't wait for school to start again.
No shit.
It was so perfectly administered and so many sensible decisions that you don't see here.
Uh-huh.
It was amazing. It was one of the best chapters of my entire life. And I moved back to the United States. Ended up going to 4 different high schools. Dropped out when I was in 11th grade. I've never been so hurt. And like when I lived in Canada,
Yeah.
like everyone else in the entire world until recently, I thought like, oh my God, I'm going back to America, the coolest country in the world where everything's perfect. Imagine how good school is going to be there. And it was the biggest letdown
right.
I've ever experienced. I wish that I would have stuck it out and knew, obviously, what I know now, that you do that shit for the piece of paper.
Mhm.
And, but learning, you know, and your own personal knowledge is something you take on yourself as a pastime or whatever the hell you want to call it.
Right.
And
Perspective's tricky, yeah. So you drop out of high school, and then what do you end up doing? What do you end up doing after you drop out?
yeah, while I was trying to figure that out, I moved into a Krishna temple in Berkeley.
No shit.
Yeah, for about half a year or something like that.
All right.
And I've always been interested in religion.
Okay.
And I'm not interested in following one. I don't believe. I do believe in God. I do not believe in the idea of religion.
Right. Spirituality, not
Sure.
Yeah.
And but I find that like television commercials, religion is like something that just by studying it, it gives me a lot of insight into human beings in general.
Right.
And so I've always been really interested in it for that reason. And I went there, and the guy who ran the place was called Hari Vilas. Awesome guy. I told him that was, I'm not planning on becoming a devotee of this religion or anything like that, but I'd love to live here and I'll, take it seriously and work with you guys and just see what you,
Sure.
whatever.
Yeah.
And he was super open to it. And it was a wonderful experience.
This is in the 90s, right? The early
This
90s.
would have
I'm
been in the
guessing?
early 90s, yeah. But I tell you, it was in California.
Sure.
And I was surprised to find that even within kind of like a religious context or whatever, these people were still, it was more important to them what other people thought of them than what they were actually doing with them.
And you think this is a California specific thing? I feel like that happens everywhere.
It happens everywhere, but man, I tell you, I've experienced more of it in California than anywhere else.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Did you become a follower, or did you just kind of like, how did that?
wake up sometime, I don't know, between like 3:30 and 5 in the morning and do a bathing ritual. And people always tried to get there on time because the later you were, the colder the water was for your 5 a.m. bathing ritual.
What's the bathing ritual? Is it just you take a bath or?
So I think, like a lot of religions, there's a lot of ritualistic shit that happens here. There's not much to it other than getting cleaned up.
But are you bathing yourself?
But if you're doing it with the intent of, like whatever.
Like a mindful bathing.
Yes.
Okay.
That's a good way of putting it.
Right.
Mindful bathing, yeah. But we would make prasadam, which was dinner.
Okay.
But again, there's like
a fancy word for it.
Ritual,
right.
but it's not just the word. This, basically this, you put your full intent into making it whatever, as close to divine as possible. And if you offer the food to a god, they'll eat it. But because they're on a different plane, the food remains, but now it's blessed and it's become prasadam, not dinner. Krishnas throughout the world aren't all what most people expect here. And the ones in the West Coast, for the most part, aren't the same as what you guys have experienced out here.
I mean, that's the thing with religion. Every single, even Christianity has got 18,000 different kinds, and everybody's like, my kind's the right kind, and your kind's the dumb fucking kind, heathen, right? So it's funny that actually happens with the Krishnas as well, although they're probably not calling each other heathens, right?
I don't know. They're calling each other, whatever it is, it's just their word for heathen.
Yeah.
It's all.
Yeah. I remember when I was in college, the Krishnas was where you can go and get the pre-vegan dinner. That was the big thing, yeah.
Yeah, we used to go and feed the bums in People's Park, and before we ate.
Okay,
it was cool, and that's where I learned to love cooking. Too.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. So you leave the Krishna thing. Any particular reason? You just got tired of it?
Yeah, I mean, I was 16, 17 at the time. I was just itching to move on.
Sure.
Someplace.
I get that.
I don't know exactly where I went from there. I went up to Sacramento for a while. Oh, and then up to Santa Rosa.
Okay.
Like Northern California.
Right.
I spent a lot of time drinking on a railroad track up there with some wonderful people.
Like we run the rails or just drinking on the tracks?
Just drinking on the tracks.
On the tracks. And the train comes, you get off the tracks, of course. Then you Why on the tracks? Was that just a place people drank?
It's a classic place to drink.
I mean, I've never drank on the railroad tracks. So I feel like I should try
You ever walked over to the tracks?
I've walked on the tracks. I've just never drank on them.
No groups of people there drinking?
Not that I've ever seen, no. But, maybe that's a different time.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Could be.
There's a lot of YouTube videos now of like people that you can learn how to actually ride the rails and like sneak onto a train and ride all the way to like a legit hobo.
I've done some hoboing.
Oh, no shit.
Before.
Oh, we'll get to that.
Anyway, I eventually ended up back in Ohio. I came back to Columbus.
Okay, but you had family here still.
Yes.
Okay.
My mom and my brother were still here.
Okay. So you were in Ohio before?
After Toronto, we moved to Marion while we were having a house built in the fancy new suburb of Gahanna. We had one of like the first 8 houses. So I lived in this like fully developed development.
Right.
With no one else in it.
Right.
For a while. And my mom was, she went crazy after my dad died. I mean, they were really, really in love.
Right.
And
what'd your dad die of?
Mysterious circumstances.
What do you think?
I think I don't think about it that much.
All right, fair enough.
That much.
Yeah.
But I will say this. I did have an offer from a married couple that had put out this UFO magazine since like the 60s or something like that.
Okay.
And they said that they would pay for me to go and do some research into how my dad died.
Oh, really?
I'll tell you that.
They think that he might have been abducted by an alien. That's
don't know.
awesome. Well, I mean, maybe he's in a better place. Maybe he's up there.
Shit.
Maybe he's flying around the.
Yeah.
Who the fuck knows, man? Yeah. Your mom might find him yet.
Yeah. Oh, I imagine they'll bump into each other again.
Yeah, I think everybody does, right?
I don't know. I hope not everybody.
Well, I mean, I think, yeah. Anyway, so you're back in Ohio.
Between going to New York every other, month and living in Columbus and it being the 90s and being in a band that played at Stashes all the time.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. How'd you get in the band?
I don't know. I've basically been kind of a punk rocker my whole life.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyway, between all that stuff, I got on heroin.
Okay.
And I was a heroin addict for a few years.
How old were you when you got introduced to the heroin?
19, 20.
19. And
okay, maybe 18, 19.
Do you remember who introduced you to it, or
Yeah, William Burroughs.
I mean, but so
I sought it out. Nobody was like,
oh, so you were reading
wanna
Burroughs
try-
books and you're like, I'm gonna
Yeah,
try
dude,
some.
everyone I idolized was a fucking heroin addict.
Sure. That's how I
And-
got into weed. But yeah.
Yeah.
I just didn't take the further step. Yeah. So you found somebody. You could just find somebody who was
At that time, yeah.
Okay.
In that rock and roll scene in Columbus, Ohio, it was pretty easy.
And did you do it by yourself, or did you do it with?
All the time. I've
No, but the
always-
first time we're talking about, like the first time you get it from somebody. Do you remember?
Yeah,
Like,
the very let's see, the very first time I ever did it. I think the very first time I did it, I was probably by myself, and then usually after that, I was with my girlfriend, who would eventually become my first wife.
Okay. So you get this heroin. It's what, black tar, or was it like powder?
So okay, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
The first time I really remember coming alive from the experience and having
Okay.
the first
And
like,
being like,
man,
oh,
I
I
am
see it."
going to be a heroin addict feeling was
Okay.
I was visiting some friends in San Francisco, my ex-wife and I, and they got this black tar stuff and used an eyedropper method where you heat it up and put it in the eyedropper and drop that in your nose,
Right.
and pretty fucking fun.
I mean, better than shooting it up. Needles, like, yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no, it's not. In
Well, I
terms
mean,
of
better
fun,
in my
but-
mind, because I'm terrified of needles. But yeah.
yeah, I can understand that.
Right.
It's all any way you're doing it. It's you know what, I have friends to this day who are people that every once in a while, 3-4 times a year, they'll do heroin.
Sure.
They'll shoot up. Most of them sniff it if they're going to do it now. But if you can be that kind of person, I highly recommend heroin.
Sure.
It's
If you can be
super
that
fun.
if you can be that kind of person is the thing,
But
right? So-
yeah, and
Right.
I've quit smoking. I've quit everything in my life, including
Sure.
heroin, without ever going to any kind of program or anything like that.
Right.
I've quit everything, but heroin is the only one that I'm still scared of
That calls
a
you.
little
yeah,
bit.
yeah,
And
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
like, oh, I would still like love to fucking get high
Yeah.
on heroin again, and I would if I knew I could do it without any repercussions.
Sure.
I don't feel that way about PCP.
Oh,
You know what I
well,
mean?
there's
Like-
another one we can dig into. So, what does that look like? Like, is it you're good for a while, like you're using it, and you think you're kind of okay, and then you realize at a certain point it's using you or something to this effect, right?
Yeah, whatever. You could slap whatever kind of cliche in there you
Right,
want.
right,
It's
right.
going to be basically
Thanks for
true.
calling me out on that. Yeah.
No,
No,
but,
yeah,
but it's
I
going to
agree,
be
I
true.
agree.
I mean, they're all. That's really is. That's all there is to it. You know, it's
Right.
nothing. You know, eventually the lights all go out. Eventually, you take something from a friend that you know you shouldn't have. And I've never, ever in my life been a thief on any level.
Sure.
And that's something that, you know, I never outright stole somebody's guitar and sold it or something like that.
Yeah.
But I certainly did things where I know I was taking advantage
Mhm.
that I'll never forgive myself for.
Just to get the drug.
Yeah.
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 How often were you using when you were like in the throw? How much did you use?
3 times a day.
Huh? How'd you get off the heroin? You were on a couple years, you said.
Yeah. So this one
Was
friend
there a moment that?
Yes, there was a moment.
Of course, there's always a moment. Yeah.
There was things were getting bad generally, you
Okay.
know, in a lot of ways. And I wasn't very fun, cool person anymore.
Sure.
Just a lot of my friends were hurt and upset.
Eventually, the drug ends up controlling you.
That's
Yeah. Another cliche for
but
you.
it's true. That's
Yeah.
what happens.
Right.
This guy who was one of my best friends growing up, his father went crazy, and when we were young, and the same thing happened to John, my friend.
What happened?
I went fucking
Going
crazy.
Yeah.
And I mean crazy, like stopped using electricity, didn't believe in money anymore, and his landlord wasn't super cool with either one of those things.
Well, the money one, I
Like-
think, is probably the one that's the difficult one for the landlord.
That's the one that
Electricity,
got him-
whatever, but the landlord's gonna.
Yeah, right. He moved back in with his mom, started making his own chocolate bars.
No, well, gotta have a hobby, right? Yeah.
The last time I heard anything about him, his sister, who was never super fond of me, gave me a call to let me know that he had stolen his mom's car in Florida, and the last thing they heard was he was driving to New York to kill me.
Wow.
Yeah. So this guy,
Right.
before he went crazy and wanted to kill me, called my mom and my brother, who had relocated to Missouri.
Because he was like worried about you.
Yeah.
All
It was
right.
like, dude, he's fucked up. It's like, I
'Cause
can
he
tell
wasn't
it's
on
not
the
him
drugs.
anymore.
Right.
You gotta.
Which is ironic because he ended up going crazy himself and trying to kill you. Yeah.
So, I mean,
Life's a long road.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
the moral of that one's obvious. Do drugs.
Is that the moral? Let me think about that. We'll leave that to the listeners to decide what the moral of that one is.
My mom and my brother did
Brother.
exactly what my mom and my brother would do. They didn't say anything. They drove from Missouri to my house 10 minutes after they got off the phone with John.
Because they had no idea.
Nah,
Right.
they showed up and my brother came in with a like blackjack or whatever, ready to knock me out if he had to. They didn't
Jeez.
know if I'd be crazed, like trying to fight
Right,
him. And I was
right,
like,
right.
yeah, you guys are right. I got to do it. I got to do it. I probably would have done it myself. If I had the cash, I need about $200. That'll get me enough heroin to get us to Missouri. And then I won't have any when we get there.
Okay.
So let's do it. So just left everything in the house. My mom got me some heroin. She's
Oh,
a good
that's-
mom.
Oh,
And-
I'm tearing up a little bit, actually.
We drove out there and I didn't sleep for like 11 days. It was
Bad. Yeah.
everything is
I've seen the movies. Yeah.
but there's really no explanation for it. I mean, you cannot describe it to someone who hasn't gone through it. It's a weird kind of hell. But on the 11th day, I was laying on the floor and I was reading this book. It was like some old hard-boiled detective novel,
Right.
kind of novel. And all of a sudden, I noticed the book was on my chest, and I was like, "Oh my god!" I just fell asleep, and I looked at the clock, and I'd been asleep for like 45 minutes, and I have never been so happy in my life. I was like, "That meant like I'm beating it. This is like really happening
Right,
now. Like,
right.
I'm not gonna feel like that forever."
You're actually, sleeping.
And I was really like overflowing with a kind of joy. And the phone rang at that exact minute.
Uh-huh.
And I picked it up and it was my friend Jasper. And I was like, "Oh my God, Jasper, you're not going to believe it. I just was asleep, man. This is the greatest day of my life." And Jasper was like, "Oh, yeah. Mike Dean killed Jay Hit last night." And that was the guy I was
Right.
talking about earlier. Yeah.
So you quit the heroin. Good job. You're in Missouri.
Forever.
For how long were you in Missouri?
Oh, no. I mean, I quit the heroin forever.
Forever.
too.
Yeah.
And I literally at one point tried it again to make sure I was like not addicted to it.
Wow,
That
that's a
really
ballsy move.
was
That's a ballsy
the
move.
reason.
Yeah.
And I just sniffed it. But and I had a blast. And I fucking the next day I didn't feel like any like going back or whatever.
Sure.
But I knew if I did, I was like that one time will be enough. And
Yeah,
that's it.
yeah.
That's
Huh.
all I've done.
Oh, good for you.
Missouri did change my life. Not just getting off heroin, but I got a job in a chicken factory.
Okay.
And the first chicken factory I ever worked in was called Pettigene.
Like a butcher, kind of like a,
Yeah,
what do they call it?
it's-
Slaughterhouse.
As an actual butcher now, I realize how far that is. But yes, it deals
Slaughterhouse.
with
Right.
slaughtering and breaking down meat, basically.
Right.
But I got a job at a chicken plant peeling tenders. My thumbnails turned black and fell off, and the work was fucking insane. And I felt like I deserved it or something like that, kind of. And
How old are you?
19, I think.
Right. Okay.
And at some point there, I can't remember if it was before this or after that, but at some point in California, I married my girlfriend, Laura.
Oh, all right.
So, and she was there, she had gotten off heroin too.
She came with you to get off the heroin with
Yeah.
you. Oh, okay. That's an interesting part of this. She
She
was
did.
on it. Did you get her on heroin?
It kind of just happened organically. I
Okay,
was
right.
never like, "Hey,
I mean, you are married. If you are married, you kind of got to do this, I mean,
Yeah, I don't know. We did. Yeah.
those couples where one does heroin.
She was just a heroin addict type of person, regardless.
right.
She ended up staying on it and doing a lot of fucked up things, but whatever.
Right.
But the chicken factory, man, that was amazing. Amazing. And it's amazing to me that I could handle it. But I moved on from there to a larger chicken factory in Buffalo, Missouri.
Okay.
And then I moved on to the Granddaddy Turkey Factory in Springfield.
Oh, your career's taken off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at that point, I was drinking 2 bottles of gin a day
Oh,
to fit in, I guess.
there was a lot of drinking going on at the chicken factory.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah.
Missouri also is like, I've been a lot of places, and I never really thought you could actually hate a place, especially one as so beautiful as Missouri. But there's something wrong with it there. It's like it makes people into weird, bitter, pinched up husks of people.
Interesting.
Oh,
I never heard
God.
that.
Well,
I mean, I know a few people from Missouri. They don't. I mean, I'm sure there's exceptions, but yeah. If you stay, I guess these people left.
No, there are
so-
people in St. Louis and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It really, I guess what I'm talking about is the Ozarks and that southern
Right.
know,
Right.
part of it. I've never seen like this level of like willful ignorance and just, like girls had like genital warts down to their ankles until you explain to them that like you could just go to the doctor and they just never knew.
Sure,
It's
sure,
fucking,
sure.
it's
That's-
seriously sad.
Right. That's truly a little bit of like sex education or something. It's really good.
Yeah.
Down to your ankles though. That's got to be a long. Like,
This
I've never
was-
heard of that shit before.
The specific girl I'm thinking of was one of the smartest people I met in Missouri.
And she's the one who has the genital warts down to the ankles.
that she had them. That had happened to her, and because she just didn't know. Like
Huh.
she said that I had no idea. That
So
was,
smart
like,
in some ways, not smart in other ways, right?
well, ignorant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Smart but ignorant. You can't put the facts together. I guess if you don't have the facts, no matter how smart you
I mean,
are.
I'd be like, why the fuck are there warts all over my pussy? But
She was.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
just thought like everyone else there does that there's something wrong with her
there's
specifically.
a lot of genital warts in Missouri then.
Yeah.
Yeah. like, of course, duh. Yeah. They used to have on the license plate the genital wart state, I think.
They also, right around the corner from where we lived was Max Creek. Awesome softball team.
All right.
But the highest incest rate in the country.
Wow.
Dead seriously. Basically, the town is a family. And they got busted because there's a police station there or something like that. They changed a federal law because these guys, like 98% of the income for the entire town was coming from this speed trap that they set up and just giving people tickets.
There's a lot of these in Ohio too, yeah.
Yeah, well, this was, I don't know exactly how that scam works
Sure,
or whatever, but it
sure.
was the entire town and they were all related and
Huh.
they had a great softball team. So.
This episode sponsored by the state of Missouri. Go for the incest, stay for the genital warts.
Anyway, the whole thing that happened there was I started working on Saturdays doing that job where I'd hook the freshly dead turkeys and they'd spray out shit onto my neck or chin usually. But I was doing that because this guy had a white blazer that he would sell me pretty cheap. And my wife's birthday was coming up.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, this is so cool. It'll be perfect,
Mm.
And I did it, worked through the whole summer or whatever the hell it was. And got the car and everything and brought it home on her birthday. And drove it home from work or whatever.
Yeah.
And she walked out of the house and I was like, handed her the keys and she was like, oh my God, this is so perfect because I'm leaving you. And literally left that night.
Took the car?
Took the car,
Jesus.
took my dog.
Jesus Christ, dude. I would, like, did you ever think you can't have it if you're leaving me? This is not like,
That's not something I would think.
Right,
I
yeah.
mean, I love things like I like having shit around, but I don't really care about things when something like that happens.
yeah, right, fair enough. Yeah.
But pissed off about it now.
Yeah. It's hindsight. Yeah.
So as a result of that, I decided that Missouri just had too many bad memories for me.
Sure.
Like
the
all
genital
of
warts
them.
and the, yeah. Right. Time to go.
Moved from Missouri to Minneapolis, moved in with a couple of old friends from Columbus.
Okay.
I continued working in meat and I ended up managing a Whole Foods meat department for a while. And then I moved on to this place called The Wedge. That was like the biggest food co-op in the United States until, 2000 or something like that. But
Okay.
From the 60s, it had been there consistently. Super famous place. We had like Prince's wife shopped there all the time. Tiny Tim in his last days was like one of my main kind of clients or
No
whatever. We discussed his diet a lot, and his wife continued,
Huh.
coming in after he died and everything.
That's crazy.
Laura Dern would come in. I remember Fugazi came in one time. That was pretty awesome. So yeah, people like it was a pretty famous place.
It was a scene.
Minnesota or
Right.
whatever. I got a girlfriend who worked there named
Okay.
Sarah, and she had studied Spanish stuff, culture, and language her entire life. And she wanted to go to Guatemala. And we decided, okay, let's do that. So we saved up for
Why not?
whatever
Yeah.
a while, and we put away maybe 10 grand or something like that.
Okay.
So we flew. It was the first time I'd had money again in a while, and we flew my mom out to Isla Mujeres, which is a little island off the coast of
Okay.
Cancun. You just
Right.
fly to Cancun. It's not a Cancun type place. It used to be wonderful. I don't know what it's like now.
Right.
We partied there with her for an unforgettable week, and then from there Sarah and I just started traveling south, and ended up going through the rest of Mexico, through Belize,
Mm-hmm.
and then from Punta Gorda, Belize, we took a boat to Livingston, Guatemala.
Okay.
It's probably where like 90% of the black population of Guatemala lives.
Okay.
And spent about 6 months there. And then from there, we moved to Guatemala City for a while. And then from there, we went to Todos Santos. And Todos Santos is on the west coast of Guatemala, way up in the mountains, 9,200 feet, and lived there for about a year.
Okay.
And it was like living in Indiana Jones. I don't even know where you would begin there. There's a thing they have there called the Caja Real, which is this box of papers and stuff like that allegedly came over with the conquistadors, but there's like stuff written on skin and all this like weird stuff, and it's very, very selective about who gets to see it. That people have tried to steal it back to the United States a bunch of times. The Smithsonian allegedly has had people there basically trying to take this thing.
Wow.
I got to see that, which was a real honor.
Yeah, that's cool.
Amazing. And like all of these meetings and stuff like that would happen in like a dirt floor, wooden shack with a fire in it, on a chilly night, drinking aguardiente and venado or whatever with these guys. It was super magical living there. There's a famous horse race that happens there every year that basically all the men go to the coast. I have no idea what they do. I never made it to the coast, but they go to the coast and work. That's what everyone says.
Okay.
My husband's at the coast working.
Mhm.
Come in. But they come back in November for the Day of the Dead celebration.
Mhm.
And that's their huge holiday.
Right.
And so there's like 3 celebrations right in a row. And one of them is this horse race. And the horse race is 100 yards or something like that.
Uh-huh.
But it's back and forth. And each time you get to the finish line, you have to drink a shot of Quetzalteca. And you go back and do the same thing. The year I was there was the first time no one died during the race, but there were some serious injuries.
So they're on the horse drinking while they're on the horse, or
they go cross the finish line, drink, turn around, go back, cross the finish line.
but they sit on the horse the whole time.
Yeah, they never
Okay.
get off the horse.
Right.
In fact, most of them tie themselves to the horse.
Jesus Christ.
And which is one of the things that's resulted in a lot
That would do it.
the
yeah,
deaths
yeah,
and stuff like that. They use a rooster for their riding crop. They tie the rooster's legs to their wrist, so the rooster is tied to them, a live rooster, and that's what they use.
Jesus
And
Christ.
they spend all the money that they've made at the coast with doing whatever. Every family buys a cow. That's like mandatory. And that's parted up and whatever for feasts of
Right.
over the course of that week. And then the guys all have, the tailors there are famous. They're most famous for this fabric that they make there. The guys have these insanely elaborate sort of conquistador disco outfits made.
Sure. Okay.
And that's it. And then everyone's broke again and all the men go back to the coast.
And that's life.
They do it all again. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I was a coordinator for a school they had up there called El Proyecto Lingüístico de Español y MAM.
See.
They've never had a written language up there. MAM is the name of the language. They've never had
Oh, all right.
a written
So
language.
it's like tribal peoples.
They're indigenous people.
Right. Indigenous. Yeah.
None of the existing alphabets work for some of the intricacies of the language.
Sure.
It's a weird one. I remember Oxkunsich means, may I have a cigarette?
Well, you got that one down. Yeah. And they accepted you as if like you were accepted in their friend groups and whatever, or
I'm just not an idiot, and I understand how people work. So
Right.
yeah, they accepted me really well. But there was an incident very shortly after I left, within a month after I left, where a couple of Japanese tourists were killed like 10 minutes after getting off the bus. They they had made so many mistakes that there was like a mob riot, and they killed this
Jesus Christ.
woman and her husband. And basically the whole thing started because the woman got off the bus and immediately saw like some little kid walking around. I was like, oh, he's so cute, and picked him up. And the biggest fear they have of Americans, especially, but anyone foreign,
Right.
is that you're there to steal their children's organs.
Oh,
I don't know where that came from, but they believe it totally. And this like foreign looking person jumped off and grabbed a kid immediately, and it just exploded. And they both ended up dead.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you still with the woman at this time?
Oh, no, she met some guy. And I remember the guy had a moped too. It was pretty cool.
Sweet.
And yeah, he scooted her out of town. And
Scooted her out of town.
I left the school, met a kind of a big group of people. We traveled around to the rest of Central America,
Mhm.
mostly, and had some amazing adventures.
Good times. Yeah.
Lots of fun, man.
Right.
Lots of fun. Then along the way, I acquired this dog that was a Dogo Argentino, which is, I don't know if you know them or not, but they're big dogs.
Okay.
They're like all white, super short hair. People always mix them up with pit bulls. I was in the Huehuetenango, this town. I walked by a pet shop and they had a litter, and there was this one that was like, looked like a little rat, like laying all splayed out by himself.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, oh, what's going to happen to that one? And the guy was like, I'll probably drown him.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, I'll take him then. And he was like, all right, 7,000 quetzales, which was $13 or
Right,
whatever.
right.
And I was like, fuck it, okay.
Right.
So I bought him, and he was so little. I used to carry him in a bag for a long time. He would fit in that bag, and we started hitchhiking, and we hitchhiked from San Jose, Costa Rica to Phoenix, Arizona.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
With the dog.
Yeah,
What was the dog's name?
Clavo.
Clavo.
And everyone always made a joke about that because they use a lot of diminutives and demonstratives in the way they speak there.
Right.
And so everyone always said, oh, right now he's a clavitito, like just a little clavo. But clavo means nail,
Okay.
but it's also slang for problem.
Oh.
And they were like, eventually he's going to become a clavo.
That's a good
and
name.
then a clavone, like a huge problem.
Right.
And it happened.
Right. Well, it's a good name in that case.
Yeah.
Right.
He was a great dog.
So you get to Phoenix.
Get to Phoenix, go to California.
Right.
My grandmother dies in Ohio, in
Okay.
Marion, Ohio.
Okay.
And drive back for that funeral, stay here for about 6 months, go to New York. Really, at this point, like, it's very culture shock being back in the United States
Sure.
at all.
Yeah.
And
You were gone for what, 2-3 years?
yeah,
Okay.
and New York was just overload. And I went from there. I texted a friend or called a friend who had crashed on my couch in Minneapolis for about a year.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I got to get out of New York. My friend lived in Vermont. I went up there to stay with him. And if you're ever coming back from Guatemala and feel culture
Vermont.
shocked, Vermont is really,
I think Vermont's good for a lot of different kind of things. I think it's just
It
a
is.
chill place to, yeah.
there's some soul-killingly awful things about it, I think, as well. But it's mostly
You can
just
say that
really
about almost
wonderful.
anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, stayed in Vermont for a while, opened up a record store. My little brother flew out to help me run it, fell in love with Vermont. He still lives there now.
Mm-hmm.
And met this girl, had a real textbook affair. Her husband was like a super rich dude and stuff like
I
that.
see.
And eventually she left him and we got married.
How long did it take so she's cheating on her husband for a while, but how long did it take from the beginning of the affair to the leaving the guy?
Well, when we started, I think we kind of like made a thing like, if this is still going on in 2 years, we got to get together. And then it became a year and a half. And then in
Mhm.
a year, I think it was about 8 months.
And the
after
husband never knew.
we got together. Never knew until I drove her up to Montreal, because he was at their Montreal house at the time. And, or he was coming back there from some overseas trip.
Right.
So we went back to Montreal the day before. I helped her pack all her shit up, and then I went and sat in a bar while she waited for him to come home. And she was like, I'm leaving you. Came
Huh.
down, met me at the bar, and threw all her shit in the car and left.
Wow.
And stayed together for 22 years, something like that.
Wow. No shit.
No, sorry. Longer than that. Longer than that. Because my daughter's 22 now. So,
Wow.
and when she got pregnant, I didn't want my kid to be raised in Vermont. and I did want my kid
Right.
to be raised in New York.
Yeah.
We ended up in Washington Heights, which is probably about as tough as you're going to get in New York,
Back
Manhattan,
then.
anyway.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah, it's cleaned up quite a bit.
Oh yeah. I mean, before I got there, it was really that's what they shoot cops up there
Mhm.
era.
Even Harlem's like cleaned up quite
Oh,
a bit.
yeah,
Yeah.
Harlem's,
Yeah.
right before I left New York, I was in Harlem, right on 110th and 2nd Avenue.
I was right. I think we talked about this. I was right near there. I was in
Oh.
East Harlem at what was it? 116th between Second and
Yeah,
First and Second.
That's right. Yeah, I remember.
They were calling it Spaha. They were trying to rebrand East Spanish Harlem into Spaha back then.
Oh my god,
It didn't take.
didn't catch on.
No. There was a Spaha cafe near us, which was just like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Spaha. Yeah. So you're raising the kid in Washington Heights.
Yeah, and I got rid of the record store. My wife is a medical professional. She, her career was really moving forward.
Okay.
I sold the record store, and I said I'm going to spend the first 2 years of our daughter's life with her every single day,
Okay.
and I did.
Sure.
For 2 years, man, we would every single day, like while she was learning how to talk and everything, we'd just walk around New York City. We'd go to Central Park every day. We'd go to, took her to the Met and like all that
It's awesome.
kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And she's a very sophisticated young woman, a great palate. She loves to eat and she loves to cook. It's tons of fun.
She's still in New York.
Yeah.
Right on.
I continued butchering during this whole time, getting better and better and better.
hmm
And in New York, I ended up working at a place called Harlem Shambles, which
Mhm.
at the time was arguably one of the 3 best butcher shops in the country.
Okay.
And, we had a lot of press and stuff like that.
Sure.
A lot of interviews. And I used to speak at, school events all the time, things like that. It was wonderful. Like
That's pretty cool.
finally we bought cows. That was it. That's how the shop worked.
Right.
We bought cows. We took them apart. We aged everything. It was one of the greatest honors of my life.
It's also
I've ever
cool
had.
that like this thing that kind of started as a fluke in a way in Minneapolis
Yeah.
kind of came full circle into yeah.
Well, I just became so obsessed with the anatomy of the animal and learning it and just how the insights you can get. Like your muscles are exactly the same as a cow's except for your collarbone.
Sure.
A whale's the same. I can take apart any mammal now and I understand the way, that all of it functions together. And it's just fascinating. Man.
Right.
And, and I was good at it. I really, really enjoyed it.
Interesting that your ex-wife's also in like the medical field, which is kind of a weird connection
Yeah.
in a way. Yeah.
I always refer to myself now when I'm in pain. I'm always thinking, my eye round hurts or my flat iron's killing me.
Right,
You
right.
start seeing all those cuts and
My
everything.
rump roast is sore today.
Yeah.
How long were you there for? 10 years? 15 years?
We moved there when Lila was less than 1.
Uh-huh.
And I moved away 7 months ago or whatever.
Oh, 7 months ago. All right.
Yeah. So we were there
Wow.
for 21 years total.
Wow. A lot of changes in those 21 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously, I've worked with a gallery during the time that I was there. I was in a great band called Ass Falcon while I was there and got to do, a million amazing shows. And one of the other things I always wanted to do was I went and learned kosher butchering in Crown Heights,
Oh, no shit.
in a totally Hasidic,
Oh, no shit.
neighborhood. And it was an amazing experience. I definitely came away from it feeling that, kosher meat is basically exactly as dumb and wasteful as I thought it was. But the process is still fascinating. And the one thing that I respect them for being able to do more than anything else, because almost no one else can do this anymore. Like they hone their knives to a sharpness that is something you've never experienced in your life.
Uh-huh.
Because if the cow flinches and you have to kill it by cutting its throat,
Okay.
and if the cow flinches at all, if the cow knows it's dying, you throw it away.
Wow.
They throw it away. It's to say it. Just you don't touch it.
And do they throw away a lot of cows?
Yeah, and you know what I would do? Buy them for $1 as long as I could transport them.
For sure.
They'd
Yeah,
sell
yeah,
them
yeah.
to me for $1, and I'd take them to another shop and either give it to all the guys or like use it for lessons or
That's fucking. It
Whatever.
makes me a little angry. Do your kosher thing, but you're just wasting life. Really, you're just tossing away.
Well, it's not like there's a shitload of food to go around for
Right,
everybody on the
for
planet
sure,
right now either.
yeah.
And every cow that they touch, they throw away all of the good part.
No shit.
There's no tenderloin. There's no, all that stuff from the
what
back,
do they
over the back
what do they
half,
even eat?
the shoulder.
That's it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, more than anything, it was just an amazing experience to like be with all of these guys that were big
Like,
members of the community.
right.
To see how the community functioned in general was fascinating. The whole thing is set up to keep people and money completely within the community,
Right.
and it works. I
Is it
really
like was it, this is Hasidic community or
Yeah,
was-
yeah,
okay,
They
yeah,
had
yeah.
giant hats and
Right.
the ropes and all that,
Right.
everything.
I mean, they also like use more social services than almost any population in the city. Like, there's a good and a bad side to the whole thing, but like the stories that I hear about the drain on social services and so forth and welfare. I mean, there's a lot
fall
of
more into the bad category for me because as well as a lot of it works, it's so non-inclusive or whatever.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
insular.
It's-
Yeah.
And it's it just turns it into something that's kind of ugly.
Yeah.
But it is a thing that if the world thought like that, things would be like if the world thought like that in terms of being a community, the way they view themselves as a community, it would be amazing. It could work.
Yeah.
Because it's
Yeah.
not really based on just taking advantage of people or anything like that. It's certainly take advantage of a good deal.
And you can't really leave. I mean, there's a lot of downsides to that community, but certainly I hear you on the community part.
Your drunken brother always has a job there. Doesn't matter. And
Right.
they know that they're just going to bounce him from this person to this person. And he's going to end up stealing some from there and they're going to bounce from this person. But guaranteed,
Always going to have a place.
always have a place to go. And it just kind of works out mathematically.
Well,
So,
they,
keep
they
that
also
happening.
they also like reproduce at a higher rate than almost any population in the country. Like that's like their whole thing is to keep having
And
babies. And,
vaccinating. It's
well, I
like-
mean, they've gone. I mean, I've heard stories of them like going out in New York and going to cities like upstate and like reproducing to a degree, and then eventually just taking over the whole town of the city council and stuff. Like that's the thing. It's a complicated.
yeah, it seems like
complicated
a
one.
lot of people are like catching on to the have a bunch of babies idea and use them to take over.
Yeah. Well,
little
they're
sinister
doing it
and
real
weird to
well.
me.
They're doing it real well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was there for the beef, and it was that experience was cool.
Is there a story or a memory like that was like the most fucked up or whatever story that you in your time in New York?
One of the crazier ones that just comes to mind, and this probably isn't anywhere near the craziest, but my wife, she was incredible at her job, and for some reason, like she really cared about working with gay populations, poor people,
Mhm.
immigrants, things like that, and really has dedicated her life to it and just done amazing work. But our house in Washington Heights for about 10 years was the hospital for people that were going to get deported if they went to the hospital.
Jesus.
And we had a chick die there one night, and literally Jessina revived her. She'd gotten coke and heroin mixed up or something like that. And she left in the morning, like still didn't even know where she was
Yeah.
or whatever. But finally, when we felt comfortable saying, take her the fuck out of here. And 2 days later, I came home from work and there's this black box sitting in front of the door. And it was a big, giant tiramisu with a note from her that said, thanks for saving my life, Alda.
I mean, I guess tiramisu is as good a price for that as anything. Right? Why not?
That was the best.
I wonder if
gift.
she thought about it and was like, "Well, what's a good gift for somebody
Yeah.
who actually saved my life?"
Yeah.
Wow, how long was she? How was she?
Nah, I mean, she was like, just her heart stopped or something.
right,
like that.
right.
But it was.
Wow, that's nuts.
It was scary. I mean, because it was the one that we almost were like, we got to call the ambulance at
Right.
this point.
But then she would have been deported.
Yeah. Gosh, they had a scam where this used to mean something. I don't know if it means anything in the government anymore, but where they would marry people, like they had a whole thing where like marrying people to gain citizenship
Yeah,
or
yeah,
to
yeah,
start
yeah.
the process or whatever. And like, Carolina's been married to 3 or 4 people, along the way. 'Cause
Right,
you got to stay
right,
married
right.
for a few years.
Right. And they
Something
come and
like
check and everything. There was a whole Gerard Depardieu movie about that called
Oh.
Green Card. It was awful. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. That's my film reference, throwing it in there for you.
That just reminded me of something. Actually, that chick, Sarah, that I went to Guatemala with,
Yeah.
super smart.
Sure.
But if she didn't remember something, she would always come up with like the most ridiculous cliches. And when we were living in Guatemala City, we went to the movies almost every single day. It was 25 cents.
Sweet.
It's another good way of trying to learn Spanish.
Absolutely.
And we were trying to remember Gerard Depardieu's name. And I've never forgotten her saying, like, I know it's something like Jean-Paul Bordeaux. Like just
Jean-Paul Bordeaux. Well, I mean, the French part's in there,
Yeah.
you know?
Right.
Yeah, I think he got canceled too because he sexually something with, Yeah.
People are fucking weird, man.
I mean, you dig enough into anybody's thing, I think you can find some darkness. But yeah.
I suppose that's true.
You know, everybody's got dirt in their past.
Although, but people are pretty fucking weird, man. There's a
people
lot of
are-
stuff that people
no,
do that
I
I'm
mean-
like, what? That's how you got in trouble? Ew, or weird.
But I mean, existing on its own is pretty weird. And the older I get, the more the existence part of the whole thing that we're even here becomes more of a trip to me. Like, the more I realize what actually is happening, I'm more blown away by the fact that it's happening at all, if that makes sense.
Certainly.
Right? Like how
I
strange it is to
understand.
be anything at all in this entire weird universe that we've ended up. Not to get too esoteric, but like,
Did you ever listen to Neutral Milk Hotel?
dude, that's where I came. That's the lines from there. Yeah.
The lines from
Yeah,
there.
Big fan.
So there's a book about them.
Mhm.
I'm in it.
No shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got a copy of it.
That's like 33 and a third book?
Yeah, it's that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we spent a lot of time together.
No shit.
Yeah, for a while. They were just talk about interesting guys, man.
Yeah, I saw Jeff Magnum at BAM years ago. I cried. Yeah,
Dude.
love their shit.
Yeah, they're great stuff.
Yeah, I remember when I first heard that album, a friend of mine played it for me, and I was like, what the fuck is this fucking nonsense noise? And then I listened to it again, and I was like, all right, there's something more. It took a while to get it, and then once you get it, I was like, oh, all right, I see what's happening here. There's magic and joy
It's
within
magic.
that.
That's it.
And just joy. So what went wrong in New York? So you, with the wife for 20 years, whatever it is, and is that why you left New York?
Jess and my wife had been talking about it for a while. I mean, she's certainly not a very faithful person. And,
Okay.
You know, well, whatever. We both love fucking her.
Sure.
You know,
Who doesn't?
we felt like, you know, Lila was grown up,
Mm-hmm.
our daughter, and we did a fucking rad job. You know what I mean? We raised like an amazing kid.
Yeah.
And are both in some ways contributing to the world in a way that we both feel, you know, happy with.
Right.
And realize, you know, we're just still young enough to just have a whole nother life. And we're still great friends, you know, and I can't imagine ever being a time that we don't spend some time together.
So it was just like a mutual
yeah,
thing. Yeah.
let's just
It's
go
kind
and
of
have
beautiful, actually. Yeah.
different adventures.
And that's why you left New York, or?
Well, no, that was okay. So that was about a few years before I left. Actually, we were separated in the city together for, yeah, I guess 3 years or something like that. And we still, there's certain parties that we do every year that we continued getting together to do the parties and stuff
Okay.
like that. And I got together with the woman I'm with now, Frankie. She's amazing, tons of fun. Very the exact
Mhm.
opposite of Jess.
Right.
And we were trying to decide if we wanted to sign another lease. And we'd been thinking about going to Vegas. And eventually I was like, you know, she's never seen America at all. She's like in Russia till she was 10 or
Oh,
something.
she's Russian.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, you know, it's kind of sucks a lot, but if there's any place where it's kind of cool, it's Columbus, Ohio. And I think it'd be super awesome to go back
Interesting.
there and see what's going on after
Yeah,
30
yeah.
years away.
Yeah.
And then we got the very first apartment I ever had in my life when I was 16 years old. We moved back in.
Back into it. Right.
And so when that happened, it felt like, well, circle of life, or this
Right.
is really supposed to be happening or something.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And how's it been?
It's wonderful, I'd say. I mean, I've really enjoyed it. I've been to some cool shows. I've bumped into a lot of old people.
Sure.
Bumped into some kids that like knew me like in a legendary way, like they were in 6th grade when I was in high school, kind of
Wow,
thing.
no
And they're
shit.
like
Yeah.
40-year-old men, like, "Whoa, my God, you did whatever stupid thing we did."
Do you think you'll be in Columbus for a while, or what are you thinking? You don't know.
Yeah, I can imagine being here for
Yeah.
5 years.
Yeah, I've been here 6 years. I'm starting to get a little stir crazy.
Yeah.
I never imagined I'd come back to Ohio, and it just kind of happened. And yeah, I'm getting a little bit antsy.
Sure. Nothing is a crisis here.
No.
Everything is a crisis in New York.
Right. No, I get that for
Everything.
sure. And I kind of miss part of me misses the crisis thing a little bit.
Yeah.
Life is very easy here, and I feel like my neuroses is just it kind of thrives a little bit with a little bit of chaos. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I'm missing it.
Yeah.
The reason why I say 5 years is I can't imagine myself being away from New York for more than 5 years.
Oh, you want to go back to New York?
It's the greatest city on earth. Just if you live there nonstop and never ever leave, it's
Well, you turn into a fucking psychopath. In a way.
it's just not a good thing. And the city is. Well, I always feel like if you're not going to the museums, you're not taking advantage of all the amazing things that the city has to offer, then why in the fuck are you paying the rent?
That's the thing. I couldn't afford to go to take advantage. I mean, when I was living there, I realized towards the end, I was there for 10 years. I realized like I can't really even afford to do most of the things that New York offers because it was too fucking expensive. Like I wasn't
But
making
that's the
enough money.
thing about New York. I fucking for 10, 12 years, I never paid for a show. I never paid for a drink. And New York works like that in a way that like this, people are totally foreign to the idea of like, I work in a photocopier place, so I can get you cheap photocopies.
Right,
If you can
right.
give me a deal on beef or whatever, that's how everything is done in New
Yeah,
York.
I was working in the editing industry, and I never really felt that there was never a, not that I didn't get, jobs from friends and so forth and so on, but it was always just kind of a feast or famine thing. And yeah, it just got exhausting. But, so before we go, I have one last question. What do you think happens after we die, when this is all over?
That question, to have that question, is the most obvious thing in the world.
It is.
For people.
For sure.
In general. You understand why that question has always been here. And I feel like some of the greatest minds probably that have lived on Earth have devoted a lot of their time into trying to puzzle that out.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is one of the saddest, dumbest wastes of time that has ever happened because everyone has the answer. You don't know. You're not allowed to know. You're not going to know. And you wait and find out. That's it.
Sure, but I'm not saying there's any knowledge of it. I'm asking for a hypothesis.
Why would I have one? That's the whole thing, is not knowing. People are so uncomfortable with saying that the answer to something sometimes is, I don't know.
Particularly that question, though. I mean, I think that there's a lot of questions that saying I don't know too is different, but like this is why a lot of religions exist, because like people are uncomfortable with the idea of not knowing what happens. So you have to have a story.
But that's not all. They're also uncomfortable with themselves in a way that won't allow them to believe their own feelings. So they fucking fall for some dumbass religion where you're allowing someone else to dictate what you think about Kevin and God and everything.
Right.
That
Not
is
how you cut your meat. Right.
So obvious, childish, and ridiculous. It's just like foot stamping anger to be like, I want to know. It's just, I can't wait to find out.
So how do you really feel about it?
I'm serious.
kidding.
I've been thinking about this since I was before kindergarten.
Right.
I cannot wait to die, but I'm really also excited to have the chance to be alive. Like everything that happens is because for some reason I got this chance, and hopefully after I die, I'll find out a little bit more about all that. I really hope so.
For sure.
And in my heart, I believe there's something.
No,
I really do.
I
but
kind of do too.
I don't know. And I don't
Consciousness is so
allow
complicated.
myself to
Yeah.
make a hypothesis about that.
Fair enough. Where are you though spiritually? Like, where's your spirituality lie these days?
I've picked up bits and pieces from everything. I still find mantras are very helpful for me, which is something that's big in Hindu faith and everything like that. Those are just little things that, again, that help me kind of get along with living. My spirituality begins and ends pretty much with I really think there's something. I really believe that. But there's facts and there's beliefs. And like so many people get confused and think their beliefs are facts.
For
and that's
sure.
when it never
This is
works.
where we ended up in the world we're in right now.
And the more complex the belief, I think the more problematic it is if you think of it as a fact. So religion obviously is very complicated and complex, causes a million problems.
Yep.
And I feel pretty comfortable with I think something's going to happen. I'm not sure, but I can't wait to find out. And that's as far as I'll allow myself to even think down those lines.
Jason, thanks so much for doing this, man.
Yeah,
This
no
was
problem.
Great. Really
It was
appreciate
a
you.
nice time.
Yeah, dude. Thanks, man.
And there you go, a little piece of the fascinating life of Jason Wachtelhausen. You can follow Jason on Instagram at dogmuseum_. That's DOGMUSEUM_. You can follow me on Instagram at 1FJeff. And you can email the podcast at 1fjeffpod@gmail.com. And I also hope you will like, rate, review, and subscribe on whatever platform you happen to be consuming this on. And again, thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, I hope you'll listen to it again, just a little bit louder. Perhaps in a different environment, maybe in the car this time, maybe washing dishes. I don't know, you pick. If you do listen to it in your car, I recommend you turn it up very loud and roll the windows down, just so everybody else can hear. And if somebody says to you, "What are you listening to?" You say, "What?" And then they yell again, "What are you listening to?" And then you say, "What?" And then they say, turn it down. So you pause it. And they say, "What are you listening to?" And you say, "Oh, I'm listening to 1F Jeff."
Very good, Jeffrey.